A conversation was brought up today on Undisputed. Shout out to one of my teammates, Chris Canty, over at ESPN. He brought this conversation up, and I thought it was good to bring it to the table because he talked about a situation you could keep Matt Eberflus. And I call cap on the entire you did.
Uh-oh. CAP.
Chris Canty basically said today that if you go 7-10 to finish out this season, for continuity purposes, he could see why you would keep Matt Eberflus, and he could make a case for why you would keep Matt Eberflus.
Stop the cap.
And the numbers that were just shown on the screen, I think, say it all. I mean, 14-31. I'm not really counting the rookie season or the first season numbers because that's a successful season, right? Yeah. Realistically speaking, that's a successful season. You were trying to lose, you lost. You followed the game plan there. 2-8 on challenges. I mean, I said this a couple of times to this point. 2-9. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 9 is the other game. 2-9. I've said this a couple of times. He's a generational loser at this point.
Oh, snap.
And I'm talking about just on the football field. When you talk about a guy that you have no idea, right? Losing is or being generational, I should say, is one of those things that you're doing something that I don't know how you're doing it, and you're doing it on a consistent basis. That's Matt Eberflus with losing. I have no answers on how he's lost some of the games that he's lost. 1 in 68 million chance. If you haven't been in here, DraftKings tweeted this out earlier this week, basically that all of the 90-plus score games that he's lost and that Packers game with a 70+% chance to win the game, he has lost all of those. That is a 1 in 68 million chance. You have a generational loser. And you want to know what the mindset of a generational loser is? I thought that he said some very interesting things at his press conference today. He talked about Thomas Brown. And it almost sounded like he was trying to big up himself.
That he found
for finding Thomas Brown. For scouting Thomas Brown. And then for putting Thomas Brown on the back burner and letting Shane Waldron go. He didn't bring that up.
Right.
He didn't bring that up. He mentioned the conversations he had with him. But he didn't talk about that. He talked about when Thomas Brown calls these phenomenal plays and he's going out there and he's doing good things. Well, Flus, what are your thoughts on how he's calling the offense and calling these good plays? Well, it's the whole team.
Wrong.
It's about how we want to play.
Wrong.
And the number one thing that Matt Eberflus said today, outside of his losing record, all of this, that to me tells you he is a generational loser. Man. When asked why he threw the challenge flag on the Jordan Addison 69-yard reception, he said, and I quote, "It was an explosive play." This man playing Madden. He's playing Madden. And Chris Canty, you want to make a case for him? He said it was an explosive play. If it was a 15-yard or a 6-yard gain, we probably wouldn't have cared and thrown the flag there. But it was a 69-yard pass, so we had to throw the flag even if we didn't have the best look. So it's not about being right. It's not about making the right decision. But it was an explosive play. And you want to tell me that if this man goes out there and goes 7-10, that's the reason to keep him on the roster? Are you kidding me?
Who you crapping?
That is one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, you're crapping.
And here's my thing with it. I respect Chris Canty. I think he does have a lot of good points, but he's doing a national show. When you're doing a national show, you know what I'm not watching? The effing Chicago Bears. You want to know why? Because they don't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
You know what I'm watching? I'm watching Josh Allen. I'm watching Patrick Mahomes. I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm watching Saquon Barkley.
The Cowboys.
I'm watching Jaden Daniels. I'm watching the best of the best.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that I'm going to have to talk about when I get up and go on the radio the next day. More times than not, the take sounds uninformed. The take is a bad take. He right now currently has the 29th ranked offense in the NFL. Thomas Brown is trying to fix some of that, but that's because you chose another coordinator over Thomas Brown. He's got the 17th ranked defense in the NFL at this point, which is dropping off consistently. He's not even doing the things well that he did. And you're telling me the Chicago Bears should keep him in the building? This guy is a generational loser.
Yeah.
And no matter what situation he's in, he's the reason that he steps in to lose the game.
Flus is like got the gun and like, bow.
Oh, he shoots him. Oh, he's Plaxico now?
Bow.
He's Burris now.
No, he Burris. He's the guy from 8th Mile.
And
He shot
so
himself in
then-
the
He's
I do
rapping.
have a best friend named Cheddar Bob who
Cheddar
shoots
Bob
himself in his leg with his own gun.
Jesus.
Like, bro, like it's
Cheddar Eberflus.
It's asinine to go on
Cheddar
a
Flus.
national
Cheddar
platform
Flus.
and say, I can make a case to keep Matt Eberflus, and I would love to debate this with you, Chris Canty, because I can make such a good case to not keep him. If I didn't, by the way, there's a bunch of stuff I didn't bring up in this rant.
Devil's advocate. The only
here we
reason why that you could possibly forget continuity is that you worried about your defense more than your offense. That's the only way that you ever would stick for Flus.
Wait, what are you saying?
Because he makes for a good defense.
Okay,
That's
but here's the thing
That's
though.
it. That's one versus the other three.
Drew.
The three parts of the of the team.
Literally just made the point that his defense is falling off. You can't keep
Wait,
him
wait,
around
wait,
if
this-
now
this is
if
the
the
hard- this is-
offenses just gave you
this is the
27
hardest part of the
points
schedule,
and we
though.
gave up 30 points.
It's the hardest part
That's
of the
not
schedule.
an excuse.
It is the hardest part
That's
of the
not an
schedule.
excuse.
Well,
We
it's
gave
the
up
hardest part of
13
the
points to
schedule.
Houston.
Was it the
hardest
hard?
part of the
Houston.
Hold on, Drew.
Why you keep repeating yourself?
Was it the hardest part of the schedule when James Conner ran for 200 yards on us?
Hey man,
Was that the hardest part of the
I was
schedule?
playing devil's advocate.
Was it the hardest
I
part of the
agree.
schedule when Tony Pollard dashed you?
I'm agreeing with you. I was playing devil's advocate.
don't play
to
it,
keep
'cause
the
now
show-
you're pissing
keep
us
the
off.
show going.
Don't play it.
Hey, I'm gonna piss you off.
Don't play. You piss me off. There's
the
no
best race going.
continuity.
I'm
No,
gonna get the best race.
there's no world where anything should allow this man to keep his job after this week.
Hey, I was calling
He
for
should have
him
been
after
gone a
week
month
3.
ago.
After week 3, I was calling for him, but this is devil's advocate. We
I
got to
was
keep the show
calling for him
going.
at the end of
You
this
do not
last
keep
year.
Eberflus for anything. If you want continued trash, that's what you keep.
Dang.
That's what
Hey,
you keep.
I agree with you. I agree with you
Literal
100%.
doo-doo water.
Whatever you want to call it.
The thing is,
Lake
though, like,
Michigan.
what I'm tired of is like you can build a defense, I think, a lot faster than you can build an offense. Like how many times have we had great defenses? We've
Way
had
too
a
many.
number of
No,
really
it
good.
just
Way
depends
too
on
many.
the talent you get.
Way too many.
Right?
Yeah, but
How you
no,
draft.
it's harder to
No,
get
Chicago is
offense.
built on defense. We will have defense like almost every other year, but we never had offense.
Like you've been able to rebuild defense quicker than you. We've never really made a. We've had a decent. The one time we had a really good offensive line, they bought most of them because they couldn't draft none of them, and then we had 2 running backs. That's the 06 year. 2010, we had an average line, but we had still a really good defense.
I don't know. I feel like that's
It's
just
harder-
more so the
it's
focus
harder-
in the draft and in who you're buying and getting in free agency. I
think
don't
you
know
can
if
get
that's
more. I
fully
think it's
true.
easier to build a defense than it is to build an
Yeah,
actual offense.
I think it's just talent.
No, I mean,
level of
most
talent.
of the time you can have a really good defense. I mean, you've seen that where it's skewered a certain way. All I'm getting at is that you're making this. I'm not saying to disregard a defense. I'm saying keeping him to keep this defense. You can find other coordinators.
I can find somebody to run
That's
the
true,
defense.
that's true.
Eric Washington can run this
please,
defense and probably
please.
will blitz.
Please do that.
Oh,
The one thing that you could say
like a good blitz.
Eberflus's resume.
I like a good blitz.
We do got to add our ad read in here. We don't have the OR ad in here.
Why not? Yes,
Do we got it? Yeah, I don't think it's in there.
Look, my last
We
point.
got 9
My
minutes
last
left
point
in
is
the
the one thing that Eberflus could have hung his hat on
Yeah.
was defense, strictly defense. Being a defensive coordinator, we said he's one of the better minds for defense in the league. At this point, you can tell his team is not buying into him anymore. You're giving up 30
Did you hear
points.
Jalen Johnson today?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Jalen
I'm not
Johnson
surprised though
sounds
because I know he
dumb.
talks his mind.
Jalen
man.
Johnson sounds.
How did he say anything? He didn't have the greatest game.
Well, he did actually allow Jefferson to score.
Here's the thing. You know what I say about that? the plays that we see Justin Jefferson, of course, the penalty, right? The penalty is big. The two PIs are big, right? You targeted him 7 times, 4 of the times Jalen Johnson's not on him. That means in 40 minutes of football, you didn't feel like we needed to throw Jalen Johnson's way. That is doing your job in a sense. You took a chance a couple of times. It worked in penalties in your favor. I think all of us were sitting at now. The one PI was clear PI. That was nuts. But the fact that he was arguing it, he was like, I grabbed his jersey, but I mean, like, he was pushing off. It's like, all right, well, then don't do that. That's called PI. But we sat here all the other day and we were like, these refs feel a little one-sided right now.
Yeah, I was at home. Like, where's the home cooking? Because we didn't get any.
Yeah, we don't get no home cooking here.
Yeah.